So thou, O son of man, I have set thee a watchman unto the house of Israel. Therefore, thou shalt hear the word of my mouth, and warn them from me.
Have no fellowship with the unfruitful works of darkness, but rather expose them.
Coming to you from an undisclosed location in Middle Tennessee and examining current events from a biblical perspective, this is Bible News Radio with your hosts, Randall and Stacy Harp.
All right, hey everybody. I want to welcome you to this episode of Bible News Radio, people. Yeah, I do. Hey, I want to let you know that for the next half hour, maybe, yeah, give or take, we're going to have some fun with a fun guy, you know. Is he a virus? No, just kidding. I don't know. I was trying to make a joke about fungus with a fun guy. Anyway, forget that. Anyway, hey, you guys do me a favor, share this out on Periscope. I know some of you guys are coming in, hopefully. And if you're on Facebook, then feel free to leave a comment. And also feel free to comment in the replay as well. Okay? Very important. Everybody's messaging me right now. Okay. Anyway, so here's the thing. If you go over to funformulabook.com. Yes, if that's where you go right now, because you're going to want to get Joel Comm's brand new book called The Fun Formula. Yeah, it is. Here's the book cover. Literally. It is the nicest book cover I have promoted all day, just so you know. And Joel Comm, by the way, has been on our show before. Had one of our greatest interviews of all time with him about a year ago when he told me that he was writing this book and that it was being published by Thomas Nelson Publishers, just so you know. And I have to tell you that I never read, for the most part, admittedly, I don't read full books of my guests. Usually I get lead notes. Today, actually, over the weekend, I read the whole book. This is it, people. The whole book. Every word of this book has been read by me. And I wrote a great review on Amazon too, so guys, go check it out. So who is this Joel Comm person? That's what we all want to know. Well, I'll tell you what, you will find out in his book, The Fun Formula. Yeah, you will. So he is a New York Times bestselling author. The very first book of his I read was called Twitter Power, which incidentally, I have to tell you that Periscope is owned by Twitter, and I see some of you coming in now because Joel shared it out. Thank you, Joel. I don't see everybody because I'm not following everybody, but if you're one of Joel's friends, thank you for coming in because we're going to learn some stuff about him that you don't know, and neither do I, because some things just have to be dug out. So, without further ado, Joel Comm, welcome to the show again.
But hi, Stacy.
Hello. All right. So here we are, gathered together on Periscope.
Here we are.
Facebook. Yes, we are. So you are on a book tour, so you're like all talked out, huh?
No, I'm just getting started. Yeah. No, I've done a lot of interviews today, but it doesn't matter. I'm like, what a privilege that people want to speak with me.
Well, I think, yeah, I think it's great. And, you know, of course, my audience knows you. Your audience knows you.
Hi, audience.
Our audiences together know you. And you know, I have to tell you that I want to start our interview with an A-list guest question that I always ask people. And because I think all your super fans will want to know the answer. That I actually don't know who they are, but
it's not going to be boxers or briefs, is it?
No.
Okay.
No.
Because I'm not telling. Boxers.
I think you can tell. I think you can tell when men wear bathing suits what they wear, because you know because there's some that they really
Speedos should be illegal.
They should be.
I don't care how good your body is. I mean, first of all, I would never wear one, but with this body. But even if I had that Adonis body, not going to happen.
Thank you, God. There is a God in heaven. Okay. All right. Here's the question. Okay. The question I have for you is eggs. Do you like eggs? This is a multiple part question on eggs.
What's the question?
Do you like eggs?
Do I like eggs? Yeah.
Yeah. Do you eat them often?
Yeah, two times a week, probably, maybe 3 some weeks.
Okay. So when you eat the eggs, do you take them out of a carton, or do you already take them and put them into your fridge somewhere?
I leave them in the carton and I put them in the fridge in the carton.
Okay, good. All right. So when you take the eggs out, literally out of the carton, and then you crack them,
Yeah.
do you rearrange the eggs in the carton, or do you keep
No.
them where they were?
No, I just leave them.
You do, huh? So do you take them out like in a mathematical way to keep the
No,
carton
I'm
balanced?
not. I'm not like anal retentive about it. I just grab random eggs, and it's not like you have to take them from one end or from the middle or balance them out. No.
You'd be surprised how many people do that.
Why? You're overthinking the wrong thing. Can't that mental energy be put towards, saving the world?
Maybe. But what do you do with the shells after you're done opening
Throw
the
them
egg?
down the garbage disposal.
Ah, you're one of those, huh? Do you know that people who do that are said to destroy their actual garbage disposals?
Oh, it's a rental. I don't care.
See, there you go. And
But I've done that my whole life, and I don't think I've ever destroyed a garbage disposal. So that could just be a rumor.
I think it is a rumor. I think it's a myth made up by somebody who, I don't know. But anyway, well, that's one A-list guest question. Another A-list guest question concerns water and teeth.
Okay.
Okay.
I like water and I like my teeth.
Okay. But when you brush your teeth, do you leave the water on or off?
On.
Why?
Because I want to waste water. I don't know.
Just curious. Hey, I'm that way too, but for some reason the water Nazis out there who say that you can't leave your water running when you're brushing your teeth, just so you know, Joel Comm.
I do what I want, and I take long showers, and when I go to hotels, I leave my towels on the floor so they change them and do too much laundry.
There you go. You're my type of guy, just so you know. All right.
I don't go for the enviro guilt stuff.
You know what? I grew up in California, and I have to admit that when I moved here to Tennessee, they literally just instituted the recycle bin stuff. And I was shocked by my neighbor's commentary about it because I grew up recycling. Like, we were like brainwashed into doing all this recycling. Here in Tennessee, people don't do that. So you live in Colorado, and I'm kind of like, you're like conservative. Yeah. Anyway.
I'm the only one here.
Yeah, you are. No, you're not. But that's okay. Okay, so, all right, let's talk about your book, The Fun Formula. I actually read it all, just so y'all know. I wrote a snarky review over on Amazon because I know Joel likes that type of stuff. And first, in all seriousness, congratulations on the book. It's a big deal to be published by Thomas Nelson. So,
thank you. I appreciate that. I'm pretty excited. They've been a great publisher to work with. Really great team of people.
Yeah. All right. So I went through the book. I learned a lot about you, actually. Didn't learn certain things like the egg stuff, but I did learn some other stuff. But
you didn't learn about eggs? Did I not please you with my answers?
No, just now I learned about, but not in your book.
Did I not amuse you?
You did. You did. This is a guest harassing the host. That's perfectly fine. I actually learned that you worked at a bookstore.
I did.
Yeah, and that actually surprised me, but I could totally see you making more sales than anybody. Talk about that a little bit.
Well, it was post separation and divorce, and it was like towards the end of a sabbatical that I took after business took a turn for the worse, and my marriage took a turn for the worse, and I kind of went off the grid for a little bit professionally. I wasn't speaking, I wasn't writing, and I wasn't quite. After a while, I wasn't ready to get back to my standard work yet, but I wanted to do something, and I thought, why not go get a job just for fun, work 1, maybe 2 shifts a week, not for the money, just to do something different, have some experience. And after I thought about it, I was like, okay, I'm not going to work at a clothing store. I'm not going to go to Best Buy and be a blue shirt and, annoy people. Are you finding everything okay? And then I can disappear when somebody actually needs me. And I walked to Barnes and Noble. I thought, they have my books on the shelf. This is where I need to be. And I walked up to the desk and said, "Are you hiring?" They gave me an application, and the manager came out and was perplexed why this 50-year-old wanted to work at Barnes and Noble. And I explained to him what I was thinking, and he took me in the back room. He says, usually this is a 3-part interview for hiring, but he put his hand out. He said, "You're hired." And it was great to be on the other side of the counter and to get the perspective, as in the store working with the customers who were purchasing books. It led to all kinds of great discussions, and I had a good time.
There you go. Yeah. See, I personally think that's awesome. I totally did. Totally think that's awesome. All right. Another thing I learned in your book, actually, and this is a deeper question, so if I think you can handle it, though, because you're tough. Yeah, you are. And you're authentic. And that's one of the biggest themes in your book, is just to be real, not be phony. You actually wrote here, people who are most fulfilled don't care what others think. But right before that, you actually mentioned how certain things often can create shame in us. Right. So I want to know, your thoughts on how does the struggle that we all have with shame, because we all do, all right? I mean, let's just be real. Sure. We do. I'm
so ashamed.
I know, but the thing is how does that struggle with shame? How do you get through that to get to the place where you don't give a rip about what other people think?
Well, I think that you have to deal with your own shame, right? It's the saying is that the power is in the secret, right? So once you're able to confess your shame with somebody trusted, whether it's a friend, a family member, a counselor, whatever, and process through whatever that shame might be, that's when you can heal. And healing is then the place where we can be transparent with others. This is why, social media can be really bad when people who are in the throes of crisis, they go out there and they post about it. Wrong time, wrong place. That should be dealt with people that are close enough to you to be trusted to actually assist you, not the general masses that are going to like and comment on your post. But after you've had some degree of then that shame is lifted and you could talk about it. 3 years ago, I gave a TED talk in Denver at the Ellie Calkins Opera House, 2,300 people with this beautiful old balcony. I'm standing on the red dot. I actually opened up that TEDx Denver Mile High that year. And I started by talking about my failed marriage and addictions. And I had no problem with it because there was no shame in it. And I wanted to create a safe place for others to open the door to being vulnerable and transparent and being real.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And you know what? I'm glad that you did, because honestly, I think most people, if they just know you cursory, like when I initially met you on Blab, like talking about your iFar app, which you had a lot of fun with, by the way.
Yeah.
I thought, who the heck is this goofball, and it just, but then when I actually...
I still get that.
Yeah, but then when I yeah, but then when I actually started to get to actually know you and really care about you as a person and kind of lay aside my judgments, I realized just what a great guy you are.
Don't judge me, Stacy Lynn.
Can't help it.
And thank you. Thank you. But, part of creating an app like that, you have to be comfortable enough to say, I don't care what people think. This is funny and we're going to do it. And when there's interviews, I'm going to do the interviews. and it did really well. And that got me all kinds of media attention. And there's no shame in it. At the time I was married and I remember my wife going, "Really? You're going to do this?" I'm like, "Yeah, really." And then it was a hit and she didn't have a,
I think men and women see that differently though. Cause I remember, boy, that's kind of
No,
hot.
they don't.
Yeah. Well,
they don't. You say that. Well, go ahead, tell your story and then I'll tell you why.
Yeah, I was just going to say one of the big issues that I actually dealt with in therapy was the fact that I was generally afraid that if I farted in therapy, my therapist would hear it. And seriously, I mean, that was a big, dang, stinking, literally, hang up that I actually had. And I could go on with the jokes, but I'm much older now, more mature, so I can embrace it.
Yeah, you're like, let her rip. You know, when I'm on stage, occasionally, if the occasion, calls for it, as part of my story, I'll pull out the iFart app and tell people about it. And invariably, it is the women in the audience that laugh more than the men. And after my talk, they're the ones that come up to me and say, can I please take a picture with you? My son, my boyfriend, my husband loves this app. They'll love they think it's the funniest. And so I think that's real too. If you're like disgusted by something that it is funny, like farts are proof that God has a great sense of humor. Why do we laugh?
That's true.
Remember George Carlin making jokes back in the 70s about farting in the bathtub in the little bubbles,
Yeah, I remember one time when I got adjusted at a chiropractor. Well, guess what happened? That kind of actually...
That's so disgusting. He popped my neck and it was like... and I was so embarrassed. Oh, I told him to do it again.
Hey, seriously. Okay, so the other thing is, I noticed in your book, by the way, I gotta tell everybody, the fun formula isn't what you might expect. And Joel, I have to tell you, one of the things I struggled with reading your book was that you don't literally actually outline a formula. No. And so I have to be honest.
Mathematical.
I know.
It's not mathematical.
No, I know, but I have to say that it kind of irritated me a little bit. I was telling Randall, this is irritating to me. I'm expecting some algebraic type formula to have fun. And
how could that even work? How would you even do that? The point is that we're all so unique and different. You have to figure out your own formula, but the foundations of it are your own natural curiosity, propensity, creativity, your own passions, combined with the ability and willingness to take risks and then stir in a healthy helping of serendipity or trusting the process, or what we might call faith, and knowing that this is where the wins come from. I reverse engineered 23 years of online success, and I looked at the works I did. There's been about 7 or so grand slams, the big home runs that you hang your hat on, and way more than that in terms of failures, and then moderate to no successes. And I looked at those, and it was obvious to me that the major successes took the least amount of time and effort, and failures took the most amount of time and effort. And so this whole hustle and grind mentality that is being spoken about, I think, is dangerous, and it's not healthy. And it's, for the majority of people, it's not going to get them what they want, which is success in business and fulfillment in life. The two go hand in hand.
Yes, they do. Like a bird in the hand in the bush. Just so you know.
Almost like that.
Not quite, but in my mind.
But there's birds involved, and so that's something.
Yeah. No, actually, though, that I'm glad you brought it to that point, because there was a couple of in here. Actually, my favorite chapter was Choose Your Friends Wisely. That was totally my favorite chapter. Maybe because I'm a therapist, I was like, hey, this guy gets it, right? Talk a little bit about that, because yeah, and also, I didn't know you used to work for Hope for the Heart with June Hunt. I did. That was a long time ago. I interviewed her not too long ago, and she's one of my heroes. I love her. Anyway.
Oh yeah, I worked for June back in like 1990. For a couple of years, and then I worked for Dr. Gene Getz at Fellowship Bible Church North in Plano for a couple of years, and got fired from both of those jobs.
Well, Dr. Gene Getz actually has been a guest on our show many years ago. Yeah. He did it.
I didn't actually. I got fired from the first one, and it wasn't June. It was a crazy woman she had hired, and after the fact, June apologized to me, which was very sweet. And the other job, I was encouraged. They helped me find the door. But that's because I don't need to be working for other people. When you are entrepreneurial, you have ideas, and ideas threaten people who are above you, right? Because their job, and so ideas aren't always welcome in, an employer-employee environment. You have to know your place. Well, I don't know my place, and so I'm unemployable. I cannot work for other people.
I hear you. And you know what? I'm not unemployable, but it took me a long time to realize I was an entrepreneur.
Isn't it great though?
I didn't really know. Well, yeah. I mean, I remember one of my big failures. You want to hear this? Because you talk about failure a lot. I think you talk about failure more in the book than you do success. At least that's how I saw it. This mic is irritating me. Yeah, I had a house and pet sitting service, and I lived in these apartments, and I decided that I was going to make cards, and I pass them around because I really liked the design process. Never occurred to me that to actually do the actual job, but one Saturday afternoon, I decided I was going to take all the business cards and I was going to tape them to every single door in the apartment complex. True story. And right as I got home, my phone started ringing because this was before cell phones. And I was like, oh my gosh, people are calling about my thing. Almost every single person that called was really ticked off at me because the card had ripped the paint off the door on their door. So I actually destroyed the apartment to
nice.
Yeah. But
nice.
I did get one customer, and
all in the name of getting business, destruction. You're like, the apartment terrorist or something. That's
who knew? So tell me,
there's all kinds of gifts and talents you did not know that were lurking.
Well, one of the things that you talk about is what's your WhatsApp app. Talk about that, because that made me laugh. And
virtual WhatsApp.
Yeah,
well, I've had
funny.
a number of failures over the years, and it's easy to get distracted by bright, shiny objects. And during the first internet boom, I had these crazy ideas for sites, and they were distracting. And one of them, I got inspired by the Budweiser. What up? Remember the commercials?
I do.
Some of you might be too young, but we're not. And I thought, a greeting card site where you could send a virtual "what's up" to somebody else, and they'll be animated like it was Hillary Clinton and Ricky Martin and Regis Philbin. And the thing was a huge flop. Like it did not catch on at all. But I've kept the site just to stand there as a testimony to a failure and why to not follow bright, shiny objects just because they're bright and shiny. Follow things because you're passionate about them, because they matter to you. In fact, you sent me a virtual "was up" card. It's like the first time in years I've gotten one from somebody. Like, is this thing really still there? I guess it is. Well,
you have it listed in your book, so I thought it would be funny to actually go there and check it out.
It's virtual-wasup, WHASSUP.com, and it's still there.
I have a feeling you're going to get a whole lot more.
That might be. Send me one. If you guys want to send me one, let me know you're listening. It'll make me smile.
It actually is funny. You have a cat in there, and Hillary, was it Hillary Clinton? I think you said.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. Okay, so the Fun Formula, you have a special offer at thefunformulabook.com. Tell everybody about that.
It just passed over right there. Funformulabook.com. Go and order the book from any of the fine retailers where books are sold, whether it's Amazon, Barnes & Noble, Books A Million, Walmart, wherever. And then on the site, you can put in your name, your email, and your order number, and you will get bonuses, freebies. My two last books, Self-Employed, 50 Signs You Might Be an Entrepreneur, and Live Video Revolution. You can download those for free. You can also instantly download a PDF of the Fun Formula so you can start reading it while you're waiting for your physical copy to arrive. You get 20% of the audiobook. There's 3 bonus videos that I made just for you. And it's tons of value for the price of a book. So go do it. Funformulabook.com. All the cool kids are doing it. And if you've ever thought that there's something wrong with the hustle and grind mentality, if you've ever needed just a little kick in the pants that would inspire you to say, I know I need to change something, I'm just not sure what, whether you are a junior high or high school or college student, or you are employed, or you are currently self-employed, or you're going to retire, this book is for all ages. And I promise you will not get through this book without wanting to make a positive change in what you're doing.
I agree. And I actually read the whole book, so I can actually say that confidently. I also learned about your mom in the book. Do you want to talk about your mom, or should we let people think about what your mom does?
Well, let's just say my mom is a world traveler. And about, 12 years ago, I inspired her to start a blog about her world travel excursions, and it's called Travels with Sheila, travelswithsheila.com. She's had like something like 3,000 videos on YouTube, 20 million views. And yeah, she's a piece of work. She's definitely an inspiration. And I think where I get my free spiritedness. Is that a word?
Yes.
Free spiritedness?
Uh-huh.
It is now.
Yeah.
Just made it. Put it in the dictionary.
Okay. All right. So, yeah, I thought that was super cool because, not only did you do it, but your mom's doing it. And I think that's totally cool. Anybody can do it, just so you know.
Oh,
All right.
she's always, I mean, half of the year, she and my stepfather are in some foreign country.
And his name's Steven,
If
right?
you were to look at a world map with pins of all the places she's been, it's just like this endless, stream of dots.
Very cool.
Yeah.
Steven is your dad's name, right? Stepdad.
Yes.
I got it right. See? Proof I read your book.
Very good.
I know.
Well
Are you impressed? You are.
You got bonus points.
I did. I feel so special. All right. So we got a couple more minutes. So does anybody in Periscope have a question for Joel? Let's see here. We can scroll back up. I know somebody said they believed I farted. Thank you for sharing that.
That happens. Remember, see, when we were kids, like, who didn't that happen to in school, right? You're sitting at your desk and, one ekes out and you're like,
yeah,
looking at other people like,
I feel a healing coming on.
who's that guy over there? He just farted. Admit it. We've all been there.
It is one of the God's mysteries, isn't it? I think it is. Are there seriously no questions? Come on, you guys. You guys gotta ask some questions. Somebody said you two are funny together. All right. So let's see. By the way, I should say hi to Melanie and Mia, Gina, all you guys. Magnus, who's over in Sweden. By the way, you can get this book in Sweden, Magnus, just so you know, if you want to get it.
Yeah, Melanie. Hi, Mel.
Yeah, Melanie just had a birthday a couple days ago.
Happy birthday.
I also should say, one of the other things that you talked about here that was really interesting is, you talked about a little leverage goes a long way. And you also talked about the issue of timing. And, as an entrepreneur, and, this is something that I've learned over the last couple of years in particular, success doesn't happen overnight, but the relationships that you develop also don't happen overnight. So talk a little bit about the leverage aspect of that, because some people will look at that as a bad thing, but I don't think you meant it that way.
No, of course not. Yeah. People have this notion that they are in the business of selling a product or a service. You're not.
Right.
You are not in the business of selling a product or service. You are, however, in the business of serving people, and you're doing that through the channel of a product or service, but ultimately you're serving people, and life is about people. It's not about things. It's not about the product or the service. It's about human beings and animals, especially dogs. But your business is, and even that serves people because you're serving their owners, right?
Right.
Or those who care for them, or those in the industry. And so leverage is really, it's about how to use the relationships in your life to bring value to others. I mean, right now, this is an example of leverage. You and I have a relationship. We're friends and we're friendly, and you heard about my new book and you're like, oh, well, you should come on my show and talk about it. And it's not like, I'm not using you. You're not using me. We're collaborating, and together we're bringing value to people. And that's leverage. Relationships are what it's about. This is why when people show up at an event with a stack of business cards in hand and just start handing them out and telling people what they do, it's like, it's a huge fail. There's no relationship there. Why would I do business with you when I don't know you? I definitely don't like you because you're just throwing a business card in my face, and I don't trust you for those reasons. So I'm not going to give you any of my money, but instead ask people questions. What do they do? What are they about? What are they passionate about? What problems are they having? And then shut up and listen.
Yes.
And people will tell you the problems they're having. We have no issues with telling people the problems we're having. And guess what? Somebody might tell you about a problem that you have a solution to. That is when you don't sell them, Don't say, oh, I can fix that for blah, blah, blah. You reply with a question. And that question is, if I could help you solve that problem, would you be interested or would you want to know? Now you're getting permission to share with them how you can help them. Now they're interested. Now they're engaged. Don't sell, ask.
Yes. And you know what? That's the best advice ever.
Ever. Well, that's it. I've apparently just peaked. It's all downhill from here. Best advice ever.
It's
Thank
true.
you very much. I dropped this mic, but it's attached to the mic stand.
Yeah. Well, it is. It's true because you know what? You know what drives me nuts now that I've gone through all this business coaching and stuff and hung around, high, super smart people like you.
I was going to say unlike now, but you ruined that punchline.
No.
Thanks.
Well, but the thing is honestly, what I've learned is that I see people networking their business or promoting their business online and social media. I see them in person do exactly all the stuff that doesn't work. And I just want to smack them, but they honestly don't know, right? Because I didn't know, you didn't know.
We learned the hard way,
right?
Which is why I'm hoping that there are parents that and grandparents and aunts and uncles that buy this book for school age children, junior high, middle school. This is easy to read, and everybody's having these messages thrown at them right now of materialism, and you want to be the guy with the Lambo in the garage and the big house and stacks of cash, and it's a lie. It's a farce. And so I would rather, these young people be able to nurture their passions now and get off on the right foot towards building their future than chase this false god that, of materialism. That just the only people who really profit from that are the people selling the materials.
That's right. And that's the problem right there. Unless you know that, you don't know that, right? You don't know what you don't know.
You don't.
So, no.
You just think that, I want to be like that guy. I want to be in my garage with my Lambo and my big mansion, which was rented, and, surrounded by beautiful people. Not that there's anything wrong with beautiful people, and have all this money and boats and all. I've seen people have plenty and they're not happy. They're not fulfilled. And so it doesn't buy you what you really need in life.
That's right. Okay. So I know you got to go because I want to respect your time. But the last question is, what is your superpower?
I don't know that I have one. A superpower? It's not the first time I've heard that question. I don't think I have a superpower. I think I'm just a regular guy who likes to play, who's not afraid to put ideas into action, and not afraid to fail. I think that's normal. I think we should all have that superpower.
I think that is the superpower because I think most people think having a superpower is doing something extraordinary when really being extraordinary is way different.
But we could all do that. See, we all have that capacity to be extraordinary. It's just that people are afraid to. And so the superpower is not being afraid to just be me. Y'all got that too. Just do that. Yep. Please.
Yep. Just be real.
If you don't, you're shorting the people around you. If you're not using your natural talents, the skills and abilities that you've acquired, your personality, your uniqueness, if you're not using that to bring value to others, you're wasting it. And that's no good. So don't waste it.
Yeah. In fact, you say your authenticity gives them permission to be equally honest.
Well, did I say that? That was good. Is that in here somewhere?
It's in your book. I wrote it down because I thought it was really good. So, just so you know.
It's a fun read. I'm really glad that you read it all the way through.
I did.
And I'm curious, what's your biggest takeaway? How does this change your game?
That's a good question, and I can answer it because I thought if he asked me one question, because I know I'll get asked the question. For me, first of all, you confirmed what I already know and have learned over the last couple of years. But frankly, the biggest takeaway that I took was when it comes to selling or doing your business, people reject the idea, not you, unless you take it that way. And I thought, you know what? For me, that's a big deal because, doing direct sales and some other things, we have a tendency to feel rejected when in reality, it's not us being rejected. It's the idea, or maybe it's not the right time, or maybe it's not even the right person, and not realizing that person can connect you to somebody else. So for me, that was actually the biggest thing. Plus, I enjoyed just getting to know you even a little bit better. So,
Well, cool.
yeah. So that was awesome. Super awesome. So thank you for being on our show. I'm going to let you go click out, and then I'm going to continue our show.
Okay, bye.
Thank you. All right, everybody. So that is the infamous Joel Comm, who was our guest today. And I'm going to go ahead and click out of my other meeting here to help my internet connection stay the way it is. All right. All right. This is also a good time to take a break. So those of you who are our normal audience, not that I mean normal. Hey, if you're normal, then stay. No, I'm just kidding. Our regular viewers, that would probably be a better way to say it. If you are, you guys know that Ariel Ministries supports our show with their, they help underwrite our show. So if you want to support our sponsor, please go over to ariel.org, ARIEL.org, and you can use coupon code Bible News. And this month we're recommending the Bible study from Dr. Arnold Fruchtenbaum called, how do you say it? HaMashiach?
Oh, that book?
Yeah, that book.
Yeah, HaMashiach.
Randall can say it better than me because he's got that, whatever you call it, the authority, the way. Anyway, so is that on the website?
Yes, it is.
Okay, so Randall put it up on the website. So if you go to BibleNewsRadio.com/resources, right? Then you can see that book. That is our book of the month, or book for the first couple of weeks that we want you to invest in. Invest in your spiritual growth. Invest in this book. Okay, just so you know, it will help you out a lot. Also, the other thing is the free Bible study for this month is called, what is it called?
The Present Work of Messiah.
The Present Work of Messiah. And the Present Work of the Messiah is, I think, what, 10 pages? 10 page? 9 page.
10 if you count the blank page at the end.
Okay, it's a 9 page. It doesn't matter. It's short. It's a PDF. You can download it. These are usually you pay for these. So Ariel's giving you a free gift every month. So make sure you go and you download that and you work on it. Go through it and use it to actually grow your faith. Okay, grow in your faith because it's super important that you do that. Okay, and then the other thing is if you have not joined me yet on Bullhorn, the mobile app, Get Bullhorn, go to getbullhorn.com, download the mobile app, and then follow me over there on it. And, a lot of you guys are following me, but let me encourage you to not just follow me, to actually tune in to some of the stuff that Randall and I are providing. Randall every day puts up a 3-minute audio piece, which is a devotion. Super good. I think thoroughly anointed by the Lord, for sure. You can listen to that. And then, of course, every morning I spend time in the Word with the Lord, and I'm doing a little short Bible study like I did this morning, actually. We're actually going through the book of 2 Timothy, and we're currently on chapter 3. So take advantage of that. I know a lot of people a couple years ago, hi, Kat and Stephen. Let's see if I can say hi to a couple other people here. Diane is here, Marty, and Mama Gina, Mia, some sex bot, which I'm going to block right now, just so you know. Bye. I'm blocking you. These sex bots irritate me. Anyway, yeah, if you go ahead and you download the app and you actually participate in the Bible study, I would appreciate it. I mean, I don't mind doing it and not getting any feedback, but I actually prefer doing it and getting feedback because I is a feedback woman, just so you know. Yeah, I am. Okay. Also, if you want to be a pillar of our community, one of the things that we really love is the fact that you love us enough to support what we do, and if you become a pillar, that just means that you just give us money every month and thank us, basically. Take us out to dinner, me and Randall. We put you in a Facebook group and continue the work that we're currently doing, right? All right. Is there anything else I'm forgetting? Did I get everything for now? Trying to remember.
I believe so.
Okay. Okay, bye. I know you gotta leave. It's okay. Thanks for coming in. I really appreciate it. So earlier today, I did an interview with Barb Roos. Many of you guys may recall that I just had her on our show to talk about Ori and how to deal with that with her new book. And Barb actually interviewed me about my life and how God has worked in my life. And one of the things I was telling her about is that, that I'm writing a book called Pickleball Faith. And, you might be like, what the heck is pickleball faith? Well, pickleball, if you don't know, is like wiffle ball. It's like a wiffle ball, but one of the biggest differences between a pickleball and a wiffle ball is that the wiffle ball is white. The pickleball has...
And size.
Yeah, the pickleball is a little bit smaller, and...
I thought the pickleball was slightly larger.
Was it? Okay. It's one of those.
So you're saying the pickleball faith is a faith that's full of holes?
No, I'm not saying that. I am saying that I shared one of the stories that I wrote about in pickleball faith on the interview I did with Barb Bruce. I have a thing in the palm of my hand, just so you know. So tonight, Randall, are you gonna go play pickleball with me tonight?
That's my plan.
Yeah. So I'm gonna beat Randall tonight playing pickleball, just so you know. I'll probably play against him and slam the ball at his feet because I'm mean. No, I'm just kidding.
And I'll hit it, and then she'll catch it, and I'll think, what was wrong with that? Or, you're stopping play. Do you have do you think that was out, or someone committed a fault, or? Yes,
that was a pickleball. Although the one I like is green. It's like a neon green. I can actually have one over. It's in the laundry basket where Randall put it. I don't know why he threw the pickleball in the laundry basket, but he did.
I don't recall doing that.
But it's there. But I have a little thing in my. It's like I feel like a lion with a. With a, what do you call?
Oh, like a thorn?
Yeah.
Thorn in your paw?
A thorn in my paw. I got this, okay, I'm going to be undistracted by it. Don't worry. Stick 'em up. Okay. Anyway, so in my book, Pickleball Faith, you guys get on my email list. You definitely want to get my book. I swear to you that it is going to definitely encourage you. There's so many inspirational stories in it, and I'm not just saying it because I wrote it. I'm actually saying it because I've let some of my other friends read it, and they're like, "This is super good." And they would not just say that to me. They would actually say, "This needs some help. This needs some help," etc. Many things that God has done through learning about relationships, and that's part of the reason I really like Joel's book, because his chapter about be careful, pick your friends wisely. A lot of us have learned how to pick friends. And one of the things Barb asked me was something to the effect of, I had made the comment that I can tell usually within 2 or 3 minutes of talking to somebody if they're emotionally healthy or if they've dealt with their stuff. And she asked me to talk about what are some signs of people who are unhealthy? And so I told her that people who are emotionally unhealthy typically act like victims. They typically always have an excuse not to do something. And they offer blame because instead of taking personal responsibility, which happens to be one of my biggest pet peeves with people. But you also have to realize that people aren't necessarily... they don't necessarily know unless somebody teaches them. But frankly, some people don't want to be taught, right? And definitely, I think that my book, Pickleball Faith, will actually address these issues and help you to see what kind of person you are And you don't have to play pickleball. I'm just using this as a basis to help teach people that, look, if you're going to be in community and you're going to be in honest relationships, there's going to be conflict, there's going to be introspection, and frankly, there's going to be a way that you have to deal with your relationship with God and walk it out, right? And let's be honest, not all of us want to do that because it's difficult to be in relationships that are, real, right? I've had some people say, well, you know what, nobody ever sticks around and they all give up on me. And I often wonder myself when somebody says something like that, I think, well, what is it that you're doing that's causing that reaction in so many people? Because if nobody sticks around and that's the issue, then what's the common denominator? It's you. So you have to move forward. You have to make a choice to get out of your comfort zone. That's part of the reason I created the Unstuck Club last year. In fact, I'm going to be relaunching that at some point as a paid model. But if you aren't familiar with the Unstuck Club, I have to tell you, it's still available. You can go over to bit.ly/all caps Unstuck Club, and you can go and you can watch, I think 6 hours or something. I don't even know how many hours it is of me teaching you how to get unstuck. And not just from a therapeutic standpoint or even a Christian standpoint, but from a personal standpoint. If you want to change in your life, you gotta do the work. And, that's something that I really liked about Joel's book too. Frankly, a lot of people want to be successful, but they don't want to put in the work. And this is why quick fix, or a quick getting rich quick schemes are very popular, because people who buy into that stuff, they're too lazy to actually go and do the work. You don't just sell something overnight. You have to build a relationship with the person who needs the product. So, it's some hard truth, but honestly, the church needs to get more real and deal with that. What do you think, Bareface?
About?
You weren't even paying attention.
I
saw you over there. You didn't even look like you were paying attention.
I was listening.
Okay.
I was listening to, building relationships and that whole thing, and the importance of that. People just try to, again, that was a very important point. That if you're in a business to sell a product or a service, then, well, you can do that, but that's all it's going to be. After the sell, you're done. And it's likely that the person won't buy from you again.
Right.
Because they just purchased a commodity. They purchased a product or a service. They may go looking for, an alternative or the same product from a different dealer or whatever. We definitely, as an entrepreneurial person, need to be of the mindset of meeting people's needs, solving the problems of people. And
yeah. Well, and even in marriage, marriage, different relationships, you and I will be married 26 years this year.
Yep.
Which makes me go, oh my gosh, I can't believe I've been married. Yeah. I've been married to you for 26 years. I mean, that's a long time. It was difficult.
Well, difficult to be married to someone like me for more than a quarter century.
No, it wasn't. It was probably the easiest. I was thinking about this. I was thinking our marriage was difficult in the beginning because we didn't have any tools.
Yeah.
But we invested a lot of money.
Or any good examples.
Right, but we invested a lot of money.
And time.
In getting therapy.
And relationships.
And developing good relationships, exactly. And that's the thing. Look, if you're somebody who, you're lonely, you don't feel like you have any friends, you got to invest time. You have to invest money. You got to do the work. It's not just going to happen for you. It's not like, God's going to, send a bag of money and it's going to drop in front of your door. It's not going to happen. Just like a healthy relationship isn't going to just happen. You have to do the work. And I can't stress that enough. And you know what? Here's the thing. People will say, well, I don't have the money for therapy. I don't have the money for coaching. I don't have the money for this. But like I said on Barb's show, you know what? Drug addicts find a way to get that. You know, if you're desperate enough for it, then you'll find it, right? And let's just be honest, drug addicts do it all the time. They resort to illicit behavior, stealing, you know, inappropriate sex to get what they want, right? So the question is, if you really want something bad enough, what are you willing to do for it? Of course, you want to stay within God's godly parameters and stuff, but what are you going to do for it? What are you going to work for? You know, I read stories of testimonies of people who go and work 2, 3, 4 jobs in order to keep a roof over their head for them and their kids, you know, because let's say the husband left, or let's say it's, you know, the wife died and the husband's got to work 2 or 3 jobs. People do it if the pain is enough. And the problem is that it's not really, you know, sometimes the pain and the comfort of being stuck in that position is more, you know, you get something from it. But here's the ultimate thing. Do you want to spend your whole life with people feeling sorry for you or trying to help you when you don't want help? Or do you actually want to get off your butt and get some help and do the right thing and pick yourself back up instead of wallowing in the mess that you created for yourself? Okay? Because let's face it, okay? And I'm saying this because let's face it, a lot of adults don't want to take responsibility for the mess they created. They don't. But you know what? Bottom line is, if you're an adult, you have responsibility for the mess you created. You know, maybe the circumstances you didn't create, but how you respond to those circumstances, you can completely have control over those. Your attitude, if you have an attitude that's a positive attitude, and you're asking yourself, how can you do this? How can I get out of this mess? How can I prosper? How can I help somebody? How can I do this? How can I do that? Then you will find the answer. If you don't want to find the answer, you'll make sure you don't. And you know what? A large part of the population doesn't. That's why that's why these people, you know, suck people dry and that they're in the situation that they're in. And you know what? As Christians, I think we have a higher calling and frankly, a higher purpose, because greater is he who's in us than he who is in the world, right? You know, there's no condemnation for those who are in Christ, but there is conviction and there is a requirement to be a doer of the word, not merely a hearer of the word only. You know, if things don't work for you, it could be because you're just listening. You got to take some action and put your faith into action, to quote my friend Janet Porter. Right, Bareface?
Certainly, but yeah, the idea comes from the Gospel of James.
Right.
Of Yaakov, that, yeah, faith without works is dead. I mean, yeah, we're saved by faith. We're saved by grace alone, through faith alone, in Christ alone. But as James so astutely said, you know, show me your faith without your works, and I'll show you my faith by my works. I mean, because it's an intangible thing in and of itself. Faith, yeah, I have faith. Well, how do I know? You know, what color is that? How tall is it? Well, Yeshua said you shall know them by their fruits. You know, and out of the abundance of the heart, the mouth speaks. And there are several other evidences of the immaterial part that is within us, you know, that...
Yeah.
So
did you guys see the sad news today that Kate Spade committed suicide? I don't know how many of you know her, but she was apparently a fashion designer. And according to the Daily Mail, which was linked over on the Drudge Report, it says here, fashion designer Kate Spade, 55, so she's not that old, hanged herself with a scarf in her Park Avenue home while her husband was in another room after leaving a suicide note telling her daughter, 13, it was not her fault. And it says here that the popular designer who shot to fame with her line of eponymous purses, I don't even know what word that is, purses with purses. Anyway, told her only child, 13, that it was not her fault in the letter, which was found nearby after Kate was discovered unconscious and unresponsive by her housekeeper on Tuesday morning. She's survived by her husband, Andy, who is the brother of David Spade. Oh my gosh. and daughter of Francis. Kate, who shot to fame in the mid-1990s thanks her line of handbags, was also the aunt of Rachel Brosnahan, the star of The Marvelous Mrs. Maisel. In a statement released on Tuesday afternoon, Spade's family said, "We are all devastated by today's tragedy. We love Kate dearly and will miss her terribly. We would ask that our privacy be respected as we grieve during this very difficult time." TMZ is reporting that the note read, "B, I have always loved you. This is not your fault. Ask Daddy." So, here is, a really, it's a perfect example of what Joel and me were talking about, as far as people getting the money, getting the fame, and, whatever the reason was, she felt it was necessary to kill herself and left behind, her family and a whole lot of people wondering ultimately why. 55 years old, that's like half your life, that's not the end of your life. That's like half your life. So that's tragedy. And, we have to get the gospel out there, give people like her hope, because you don't know. And that's what I want to encourage you with in the show, because first, the first half we talked about, talk with Joel about the fun formula. A lot of people don't have fun in their job. As you know, I do, just so you know. I love what I do. I'm not making millions of dollars doing what I do, but I love what I do because I know it helps you, because you tell me it helps you, because you come back. Because I get to talk to a lot of great people who offer great help and insight every single day. So there's nothing, to me, I would rather do this than make a gazillion dollars doing something I hate. You know what I mean? And so the thing is, you have to, do what you're called to do, but realize it takes work, right, Gina? Yeah, and they do. They really do believe. People who commit suicide really do believe in many ways that is their only way out. But the fact is that it's not, right? Jesus said that he came to give us life, and that to have life more abundantly. He came to set the captive free. Free from what? Free from the sin that hounds us, that holds us, that captivates us. He came to set us free, right? And he can use you in any circumstance, right? Some of us have setbacks. I don't know if you guys saw Vicky Fitch's YouTube video this morning on her book thingy. The publisher is recommending that she put off getting her books published until next year because she's been so sick the last couple of months. And that's something she's got to process and work through. But it could be, that God is going to open up a different door next year. Who knows? I don't know. I was suicidal 15 years, fought it every day. You know what, Jesse? I understand. I do. I completely understand. I fought suicidal thoughts for a large part of my life. Because I dealt with depression, severe anxiety, post-traumatic stress disorder because of all the abuse that I went through. And I have to say that, it took me getting a lot of therapy and learning to understand why I felt the way that I felt, working through offering forgiveness to those who hurt me, and ultimately making the ultimate choice to make a choice to get better. The number one cure for depression is walking. That's what it is. It's not antidepressants. In fact, antidepressants have been shown to actually make it worse, which is why I don't advocate them. But, if you're depressed, go for a walk, because that natural exercise will create the chemical change in your body that, that creates the way that you feel, that and how you think. Right? Cognitive behavioral therapy, or also known as CBT, what you think about comes about. You can change how you think. And I go there. Joel's gone there. Joel talks about his addictions in the TED Talk that he did. His addictions cost him his marriage. If you don't think that's a blow on a guy's life, just saying, It is. But the thing is, when you're addicted to something, You're making a choice to go to that, whatever it is, to offer you comfort, and instead of dealing with your feelings. And that's part of the problem, I think, in our culture, is we don't allow people to actually have their feelings or to feel their feelings. Did you know, for example, in other countries, like more like third world countries, research shows actually that in third world countries, people are not nearly as depressed as they are in first world countries like the United Kingdom and America, right? And the part of the reason is because they actually, like in biblical times, when somebody died, they gave you a year off so you could grieve it. You know, you could feel the pain, you could cry. You had a community of people who support you. In third world countries, it's that way today. You know, often, you know, you have a community of people that you can grieve with, and it's okay. You know, the grief often is more expressive, you know. But in America, it's like, hey, your parent dies and you have a job, a typical job. Okay, we'll give you the weekend off or whatever. I was in grad school when my mom died, okay? Talk about the worst time to get, you know, to have somebody die in your family. Here I am in my beginning of graduate school. I had just started my internship and my training where I had to be, quote, all together for my clients that I had no idea what the heck I was doing with at the time. I mean, these people were coming in and I was expected to help them. And here I had just lost my mother to cancer. You know, and I'm like, okay, this is good, you know. Just saying, that was one of the hardest times I went through in my life, was dealing with the loss of a parent, because I couldn't grieve like openly so much. I had to stuff things, and I had to deal with it the best way that I could. But in the church, somebody here just said a comment about the church can be the worst place for depression. Yeah, Jesse, I actually agree. I think that the church, often you have well-meaning individuals who will say dumb things because they don't know, or they're just intentionally obtuse. They don't understand that, that what they just said is stupid, right? I mean, when I found out, when I couldn't have kids and I was barren, I actually had a woman, a well-meaning woman, I believe, one day come up to me, open the Bible to a specific psalm, and she told me, well, if you just pray this psalm, you'll get pregnant. And I'm like, oh, really? In my mind, you know, I just wanted to smack her one. Like, you're an idiot. No, that's not how I'm going to get pregnant, by reading the psalm. That's not going to happen. But the church, you know, to its credit, you know, has tried to help. You know, Joel actually references some of his favorite books in this book, and one of them is Boundaries. That's the #1 book that he recommends for people who have, you know, when asked what business books do you recommend, that's the book he recommends, is the book Boundaries. And I recommend it too. If you've never read it, go get it. There's a whole series of them. Because once you can learn to say no, you've created a boundary. And once you can get used to hearing the word no, then you've accepted other people's boundaries. And I could do a whole series on this, trust me. Because it's true. You know, some people will try to push your boundary and cross your boundary all that they can do, leaving you sucked dry. And like, you don't, you know, like you have to block them ultimately because they won't leave you alone. And there's a reason for that, right? So anyway, Kate Spade, getting back to her, Kate Spade dying. I hope she knew the Lord. I don't know if she did. I have no idea. Joel actually is a Christian. He's also Jewish. He's a Messianic Jewish believer. Johnny Boy, I actually did a interview with him about a year ago. If you go over to our YouTube page, which is youtube.com/Bible News Radio, and just put in his name, you'll find the interview that I did with him where he actually shared his testimony with us. And he shared his faith. And I hope someday that, you know, I hope that he starts speaking out more about certain things, because I think he has a lot of ideas and beliefs that I think more people need to hear. But I think for him right now, it's not quite the time. But that interview, I think, was probably, to me, it was one of my favorite interviews last year that I did. And if you like Joel, you'll definitely love that interview, because I think it was the side of him that he never talks about, really. So go check it out. Okay, so tomorrow is Wednesday. We'll be back Wednesday at the same time. I hope you guys have a good rest of your day. Go get Joel's book. Go to funformulabook.com. Get it. Download the free stuff. If this is something that interests you, I think it will help all of you. Actually, there's you don't have to be an entrepreneur to learn something from it. I just go get it. All right, and then send him one of those "What's up?" emails. So his book. This is his book. It's about ultimately life and some of the lessons he's learned about being an entrepreneur, and how to succeed in life. So you can go read more about it on Amazon, or just go to the website. It'll tell you more. All right. So be bold, people. Stand up and go with God, because he loves you. All right. We'll see you tomorrow.